Hey, what's up guys, E back with another action figure review. Today we're going to look at the Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series, the Hasbro Post-Con 2021 exclusive, the Master of Disguise Zartan figure. So before we get started, big shout out to Hasbro for sending me this figure for free and giving me the ability to review this figure a little bit early for you guys before Hasbro Post-Con even airs this weekend. As of the recording of this video, it is this weekend, starting Friday, October 22nd. And continuing on to Saturday, October 23rd. So let's get right into it. First off, the box is very different from what you're accustomed to when it comes to G.I. Joe Classified Series. It's a little bit wider box here, and we get a little nice artwork on the front with a very dynamic picture on the front here. You can turn the wheel and change the disguise that Zartan is wearing. So this is pretty dope. I like this feature a lot. And there you go, back to the normal Zartan there. So here is one side of the box. You can see here, it's got the Master of Disguise Zartan and then number 31. And then we have the other side, which shows more art. And then the back side, which is the poster art that we're all accustomed to when it comes to G.I. Joe Classified. Flipping it back to the front, we can open the front panel. It is actually taped, but I already cut through it. And the panel opens up, and you can see on one side it says Dreadnoks, and on the other side we get the actual figure. So now you can see why the package is so wide, not only for the package design itself with that wheel on the front, but all the accessories that this figure comes packed in with. It's a lot. We get a lot of accessories, so that's one of the bonuses of this exclusive. And also, it's a different Zartan than what we got on the original release, which we'll compare him next to. We can see what's different and what's what's not different. But this figure will retail for $36.99. Remember, it's a Hasbro Post-Con exclusive, so it's only available while it lasts when those orders go up this weekend during Hasbro Post-Con 2021. And real quick, this will give you an idea of what it looks like next to a regular size box. So you can just see how much wider it is compared to another, regular size. Alright guys, so here we have Zartan, the leader of the Dreadnoks. He's also a mercenary who often worked directly for Cobra Commander, so he's definitely a main villain of this series, G.I. Joe. This is the figure as he comes through the packaging, of course without any accessories attached. And we're going to roll right into the accessories first before we get into the figure. Alright, so up first we have his hoodie, which does come packed separately. This easily attaches to the head here. No peg holes or anything, but there's little divots inside for his ears, so it'll stay on there for sure. And now that's how you get Zartan with this little hoodie on, so that looks pretty dope. And then I guess we can roll right into the faces here. This is the normal face on the figure. He can of course change his face into anything he wants to. These are literally faces, so they're not head sculpts. They're faces that you can just snap on to the current head sculpt that he has. So it looks a little odd from the side, but then from the front it looks like he has a whole new head sculpt. And then if we put the hoodie on, even better. So check that out, pretty dope. Skin tone does not match completely with the skin of the actual figure, just pointing that out. Up next we have a very similar face, because this is the same face sculpt that we got with the regular release Zartan. This was actually the only one, I think. So we do get that. It does make a comeback in this. And then we have this face sculpt here. Got some scars. I like putting the hoodie on because it hides the, obviously the seam on the side there, and it makes it look more realistic. And then the last two sets of faces are actually head sculpts, complete head sculpts. We have Storm Shadow and we have Snake Eyes. So if you want, you can pop off his head and put a Storm Shadow head on there. So there you go. I guess Zartan, changed into Storm Shadow for this scene here. This one actually was quite the tight fit to get on the peg hole. And here we have the Snake Eyes head sculpt. Looks very weird. I probably won't display him like this. Honestly, I'd probably just keep him with his regular head sculpt. But, the fun factor is there. The options are there for those who want to, mess around with the figures that way. Now lastly, I want to snap back on his regular head to show you this face. I guess this counts as a face, or it could be just a mask. We have the skull and it straps around his head. We have a nose hole on the skull. You can see right there. So that's where you're going to want to stick his actual nose through to apply it. And then you put the strap behind his head, and that's how you get him to wear it. And there you have Zartan with that skull face mask there, which looks pretty nice. And you could just see the paint job came out really nice and clean on that. I like that. So there's that option too. Those are all the heads and faces. Going back to these two, these seem like they're the same sculpt as the ones that came with the actual character. I wonder what these will look like on those figures if I head swap them. So I'm probably going to do that later on in the video, so stay tuned for that. Up next, the scarf returns. Zartan came with this on the original release, and I believe one of the Cobra Troopers did come with one of these too. And this just goes around his neck. And of course you can put the hoodie on next, and that gives it the complete look right there. And that looks really nice, so there's a look at that. Up next, he comes with a quiver full of arrows. There's a peg hole on the front and an actual peg on the back, so the peg on the back obviously goes into the peg hole on the back of the figure. You can see it's a tight fit as it squeaks as I insert it into the figure. So you can have it on this side of the back, so on the right shoulder or on the left shoulder if you wish. And it looks good either way. We also get that peg hole on the back of the quiver because he also comes with a backpack. Now I don't know if you would want to do this. That looks odd. Maybe it's not for that. The option is there if you want, I guess. I don't know. It's the only other thing that has a peg from his accessories. So it's not like you can snap in a gun or anything like that. So I don't know why that's there, but I guess it's just to have the option. Now, of course, you can take off the quiver and just have the backpack on instead if you want that. And then maybe, if you want, you can maybe insert the quiver on the side, but it's not a tight fit. It's actually probably not even meant to go there. Next up, we get a new weapon, I believe. I don't think I've seen this before with any G.I. Joe. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we get a long sniper rifle here with a bipod and a silencer and everything attached. It's a whole new sculpt, to my knowledge. Some paint on the handle grip there. We get a strap, and that's it. We don't get any pegs or anything, so you can't really peg it into the sides. Now, this is going to actually have some pretty cool features right off the bat. You can slide out the silencer if you want, so you can have it without the silencer. The bipod moves around, so you can, put it away or snap it back out. And then also you can pull down here and, pull out, I guess, a grip or maybe another stand. You gun experts out there can let me know what this is all about, but it looks like a grip or a stand of some sort, but that does move around up and down. This moves, and of course the silencer is removable, as we saw. Also, it does have a peg hole on the end of it, so you could probably attach a effect piece to that if you have an effect piece lying around. So there's the awesome sniper rifle. Then we have a bow, which goes along with his quiver full of arrows. So that's needed, and I believe this is the same sculpt as the one that came with Storm Shadow. Also, no, there is no actual string, to pull back on. So I think they did the same thing with Storm Shadow. Next, we get a combat knife or a Bowie knife or whatever you want to call this knife. A military knife. It's a glossy blade with a more matte black for the handle. There's a little peg hole there, so I guess you could technically attach that to the side of the backpack on his back, so you can kind of holster it there if you don't want him to hold that. Or, the better thing to do is to actually holster it into his knife holster behind him. So that slides in. It is definitely a tight fit, but it'll go all the way in. And then last but certainly not least, we have his pistol accessory. Alright, and here's a closer look at Zartan up close and personal. We can see all the paint and detail on the figure. Now, for the most part, this figure is 99% the same exact figure as the regular release. It's just a repaint. So the sculpting, the armor there, everything is the same except, of course, the paint job on the entire figure. So that's what's different. It's to the point where it makes the figure look entirely different. So it might be worth the pickup for those who are big G.I. Joe fans or Zartan fans to get a different colored Zartan. And of course, I know I haven't really mentioned it, but this figure does have that skin changing effect with temperature. We'll get into that later, but there is that option with this release, of course. But anyways, here's a closer look at him. Let's get the hoodie off so you can kind of see the head a little bit better. It is the same face sculpt, same head sculpt as the original release, of course. That torso piece is the same. Everything is the same. It's just painted very, very differently. I really, really like the paint job. They did a good job. Going back down. All the super nice sculpting is all there. The pinless knees is there. The pinless elbows are there. There's the back side there. So there's that. We're obviously going to compare the two in a little bit. Because before we get into the comparison, I want to get into the articulation in case you're unfamiliar with the figure. We'll run through it real quick. So the head sits on a ball jointed hinge. So it goes all the way up, goes all the way down, left and right, swivel just fine. And then the neck also articulates, so it allows for some more extra range of movement there. Arms will go all the way up. Now he does have those shoulder pads, but they are very pliable. Do know if you keep the arms up for a long time on display and then you move it back down, these things are probably going to warp up like that, and they'll go back down, but it'll take a second for it to go back down. So we do get bicep swivels at the bicep there, and then out we have shoulder butterfly joints, double jointed pinless elbows, swivel at the wrist with a side hinge. We get the ab crunch at the torso, waist swivel, and ball joint. T-jointed legs that kind of drop down slightly, go forward and back, they go in and out. We have, let's get them back up, thigh swivels, double jointed knees, shin guard, boot cut swivel, ankle hinge, forward and back, and then the rocker side to side. Alright, so here we have our Zartans next to each other. We have the regular release on the right side, and we have the Hasbro Post-Con exclusive on the left side there. As you can see, it's the same armor on the torso, the same hoodie, the same scarf, same leg sculpts, everything's the same. Just the paint job is different. You can see how much different it is. Very, very different. So I dig the difference in them. I dig that it's not too similar. At one point I thought it was an entirely different sculpt, but it's not. But that just goes to show how good the paint is. And zooming in just a little bit here, we can see the upper torsos of both figures. I really want to point out the skin tones. They're very different. It's a more yellowish color for the skin on the left side, Hasbro Pulse exclusive, and we have a more natural skin tone for the regular release. I think this is due to the actual effect of the skin changing that they featured in this figure release. I don't know what goes into that, but I'm sure it's a specific paint job or color they have to use for it to work. And of course, if you have the original release, you can use the new accessories that come with this Zartan on that figure as well. It's the same exact, mold, so it's going to fit on that face just fine. Alright, up next we have Storm Shadow. This is the Amazon exclusive Storm Shadow, and the only reason why I have him up here is, of course, to compare him next to Zartan, because he has some of the accessories that Zartan comes with. So he's got the quiver with arrows. It's the same mold, same sculpt, just a different color. You can see there. It is on his back. And you can also see that that hole was actually there for Storm Shadow, for his sword attachment there. And then the same bow, as you see in his hand, is the same bow that Zartan comes with, just painted white and black instead of that gold and black. Now lastly, I want to go ahead and attach this head onto that Storm Shadow. So let's check it out. Alright, and there's a look at that Storm Shadow head on the Arctic version of Storm Shadow. Keep in mind this is the Arctic version, so it's not our classic Storm Shadow. And it does not fit. It's very loose. The peg holes are actually different. It looks like they did this intentionally so you don't swap heads. But you can lay it in there if you want and just have them posed, with it just sitting there if you wish. Obviously the whites do not match. It's paper white for the head sculpt, while the body has, that creamy yellowish white. And there is our Snake Eyes with the alternate head, or the extra head that Zartan came with. It's the same head sculpt, just of course painted with that gray visor. This head actually fits in very tight. It's not as loose. It's not loose at all, actually, like the Storm Shadow head. But this one fits in tight. It's the same. So if you really want the gray visor instead of the black on black here, then you can use this head on your Snake Eyes if you wish. So it gives you this look right here, which actually looks pretty dope if you ask me. But you guys let me know, do you guys prefer this look or the original black on black? Alright, and here we have him after I have sat him in the freezer for about 10 minutes, and it's very quick. He turned blue. He's quickly turning back to normal because I have the very hot lights on him right now. But you can kind of see there on the back, you know, where that neck peg is. You can see the skin tone there. But this is actually really cool how this works. You can see right there. See if I lay my finger on there for a while. Yeah, look at that. So pretty dope. I remember as a kid having a pencil. Look at that. Oh, you can't even see it. See how it's turning back blue? But I did this, and it's turning blue again. As a kid, I had a pencil that would do this. So it would change colors whenever you had it cold or whatnot. That's definitely a cool effect to have for pictures, because it's definitely only temporary. Unless you live inside a freezer. So it's not like you're going to display them in blue at all. So it's cool. It's a nice little, you know, feature that figures don't really come with, you know. So it's a nice little extra thing to have for your photography. Quickly put them into the freezer or into the fridge, and then take them out, take some photos real quick, and then you're good, you know. So very nice. To see how long it takes for him to go back to normal, I'm pretty curious. Alright, so for the most part we are back to normal here. It actually took roughly around maybe 10 to 15 minutes or so. Even after that, when the majority is back to normal, there's still like some parts that remain blue, little stingy areas, but eventually, you know, maybe give it a half hour, it'll all be gone. I wonder if underneath here, yeah. So it's all gone now. I left it in the light. There's some blue here a little bit. But yeah, pretty cool little feature. Not something I'm going to use every day, but it's still a cool show and tell piece whenever you get some visitors over and you want to show somebody something really cool. Alright, and we'll close it off with him holding his new sniper rifle accessory, and he grips it pretty darn well, I must say. I like it. It's a nice grip. You can get him aiming down the sight somewhat. Very good for all the armor that he has on. He does have that side hinge for the wrist, so that is perfect for, you know, holding weapons. So I always recommend having that side hinge whenever you're holding a weapon on, you know, on a figure. It's what makes it possible, you know, to aim down the sights and to hold it properly. But anyways, that's it. That's going to conclude my review of the Hasbro PostCon exclusive Zartan Master of Disguise figure. So stay tuned for this weekend for your opportunity to, you know, order yourself one of these exclusive Zartan figures. Best of luck to you guys, whoever's after this figure. You're definitely going to like it if you're a G.I. Joe fan and of course, Zartan fan. Alright guys, thanks again for watching. Leave a like, comment down below your thoughts on the figure, and subscribe if you have not done so already. As always, take it easy, take care, and have a good one. Bye.
That's crispy.